Finally, the tide has turned against the cartels. For decades, they have poisoned communities, fueled violence, and defied every attempt to shut them down. But now the United States Navy has unveiled the 6th-generation F/A-XX fighter jet, a stealth war machine designed for range, precision, and unmanned integration. This is a declaration of intent to strike harder and faster than ever before. Could this breakthrough weapon be the beginning of the end for cartel power? Or is an even greater fight about to begin? Join us as we explore the lethal capabilities of the 6th-generation F/A-XX that the United States Navy recently unveiled. The Trump White House is signaling the beginning of a new war against drug cartels, changing the United States' response from law enforcement to direct military pressure. The administration has already dispatched multiple warships, along with several thousand sailors and Marines, to patrol the Caribbean and interdict traffickers at sea. However, this mission goes far beyond intercepting small boats or making isolated arrests. The president has directed the United States forces to wage an open war on cartels, which he argued have been waging war on the United States for over 3 decades without a proper response. For many years, United States policy in the region focused on interdiction. The Coast Guard possessed legal authority to chase and arrest traffickers at sea, while the Drug Enforcement Administration and allied civilian agencies worked with Latin American partners to dismantle supply routes and destroy laboratories hidden in remote terrain. This model prioritized arrests and seizures, but it did not involve consistent military operations against the cartels themselves. The Trump administration argues that circumstances have changed. Fentanyl alone, according to U.S. officials, has claimed nearly 200,000 American lives in just 3 years. That toll exceeds American military deaths across all wars fought in the last 6 decades combined. For the White House, such losses represent not only a health crisis, but also a national security threat, justifying the reclassification of cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. For years, Mexican cartels have escalated their firepower, turning their operations into a dangerous arms race. Their arsenals no longer consist of simple firearms. Today, they boast grenade launchers, drones modified to drop explosives, and heavily fortified monster trucks fitted with steel plating and machine gun turrets. These vehicles look more like battlefield machines than tools of organized crime. A newer and more troubling development, however, is the spread of improvised landmines. Unlike guns or armored vehicles, these devices can lie hidden, waiting to strike unsuspecting victims. Analysts trace their rise partly to the presence of Colombian mercenaries in Mexico. These fighters bring battlefield expertise from Colombia's bloody history, where landmines and explosives were a central weapon in wars between guerrillas and paramilitaries. Threats of this scale demand more than policy, they require advanced military power. That's why the Navy is shaping its future around the F/A-XX, a next-generation strike fighter designed to fly seamlessly with unmanned systems, combining stealth with cooperative technology. The F/A-XX will be focused on both air superiority and strike missions, much like today's Super Hornet, but with far greater performance and lethality across every aspect. The aircraft's stealth capabilities are expected to surpass even those of the F-35, ensuring dominance in contested environments. The fighter will serve as a highly advanced system of systems capable of changing the direction of naval operations. A key feature of the F/A-XX will be its integration with the collaborative combat aircraft, often called the Loyal Wingman drone. These unmanned aircraft will fly alongside the fighter, extending its reach and multiplying its combat potential. Through sensor fusion technology, the F/A-XX will communicate with both manned and unmanned platforms, enhancing air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. Future versions may even be armed with hypersonic weapons, providing strike capabilities never seen before in naval aviation. The Navy's independent path toward developing its 6th-generation fighter has also opened the door for more flexibility in adopting artificial intelligence and autonomous technologies. Aviation Week reported that AI is set to become a central element in this program, enabling faster and sharper decision-making in high-pressure combat scenarios. This will allow pilots and squadrons to use their resources more efficiently and with far greater precision. Looking forward, The loyal wingman drones are expected to play increasingly combat-focused roles, flying directly alongside the FA-XX in high-threat environments. These early tests and successes are only the beginning, but they already show how a mixture of stealth, autonomy, and teamwork between manned and unmanned systems will define the Navy's next era of air superiority. The Tailhook Symposium 2025 provided a dramatic stage to showcase this future, with the spotlight firmly on the Navy's next-generation strike fighter program. The most striking news came from Northrop Grumman, which unveiled images of its long-awaited stealth fighter concept tailored for carrier operations. This was the company's most public step yet into the competition, signaling its intent to challenge Boeing for the Navy's future air dominance contract. For Northrop, the reveal was also a reminder of its track record. The X-47 drone program demonstrated advanced carrier-based stealth capabilities years earlier, giving the company credibility in naval aviation design. Boeing, meanwhile, showcased its own vision of the future. The firm presented a carrier-based concept closely aligned with its F-47 next-generation air dominance aircraft, which is already under development for the U.S. Air Force. By leveraging common designs and systems across both services, Boeing aims to reduce costs and accelerate production timelines. Its strategy is clear: offer the Navy a derivative of an Air Force project already in motion. However, the Navy's F/A-XX program has been under pressure since the F-47 program emerged as the centerpiece of American sixth-generation air power. Under the Trump administration, resources and engineering talent were concentrated on the Air Force project, leaving the Navy's efforts struggling for survival. At one point, the program was described as being placed on life support, with doubts over whether a separate naval fighter would even be funded. The Trump administration has made no secret of its preference for canceling the FA-XX, yet the Navy and its allies in Congress continue to resist this move. For naval aviation leaders, the argument is simple. Without a sixth-generation fighter, the carrier fleet cannot guarantee air superiority in contested skies. That advantage in the air is seen as the foundation for every other mission a carrier air wing might perform, from precision strikes to ground support and deterrence. A decision between competing designs from Boeing and Northrop Grumman had originally been scheduled for March, but that selection process was halted when the Department of Defense froze the program. Officials claim that the American aerospace industry may not have the capacity to build two completely separate sixth-generation fighters at the same time, a concern that effectively placed the Navy's project in limbo. This uncertainty has not stopped speculation about what the FA-XX might look like. The debate over the F/A-XX shows a larger question about America's ability to sustain its technological edge in aviation. Can the United States manage two separate sixth-generation fighter programs at once? Should the Navy rely on the Air Force's design or insist on a carrier-specific solution tailored to the demands of sea-based aviation? Official language in the defense budget had previously described the Navy's program as maintaining minimal development funding to leverage F-47 work while preventing oversubscription of qualified engineers. Regardless, they pressed further. In July, U.S. Naval Institute News revealed that the Navy's annual wish list of unfunded programs included a request for $1.4 billion for research and development of the air wing of the future, known as AWOTF. By contrast, the Navy's official fiscal year 2026 budget sought only $74 million to maintain limited progress on the F/A-XX program. That position shifted when Congress approved additional resources, ensuring the Navy's sixth-generation strike fighter moves forward as an independent effort, separate from the Air Force's F-47 next-generation air dominance initiative. The Carrier Strike Group remains one of the most flexible and powerful tools of American power projection, deploying as many as 80 aircraft globally within days. The addition of sixth-generation fighters will only increase that capability. The Navy's top aviation officer, Vice Admiral Daniel Cheever, also known as the Air Boss, delivered testimony emphasizing that the service requires a platform designed for carrier operations from the outset, not an adaptation of a land-based aircraft. The full wish list for the following year totaled $7.4 billion, covering all programs and projects across naval aviation. Operational examples were highlighted at sea as well. An F-35 Charlie Lightning II, belonging to Marine Fighter Attack Squadron 314, recently executed an arrested landing aboard the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, hull designation CVN-72. The image underscored both the capability and the limitations of the current fleet. While the F-35 Charlie offers advanced sensors and stealth, it cannot fully replace the broader strike role performed by the FA-18, which remains the backbone of the carrier air wing. Vice Admiral Cheever described the F/AXX as an exciting aircraft and emphasized his anticipation for the down-select process that will decide the winning contractor. He explained that a true 6th-generation fighter ensures air superiority in the coming decades, which in turn guarantees sea control. In his words, as long as you have air superiority, you have sea control around the globe. The air wing of the future is not just about one fighter. It represents a system of systems combining manned, optionally manned, and unmanned assets. Unmanned combat air vehicles such as the MQ-25 Stingray and the X-47 have already demonstrated potential, including autonomous carrier operations and aerial refueling. These platforms are expected to integrate alongside the FA-XX, extending the reach and survivability of carrier air wings. The distinction is critical. While the F-35 Charlie brings formidable technology, it cannot fill every role the Navy requires. The F/A-XX is envisioned as a true replacement and enhancement over legacy fighters. Designed with naval requirements at its core, catapult launches, arrested landings, and endurance for long deployments, it will serve as the foundation for carrier strike operations deep into the mid-21st century. For now, the political support secured through Congress ensures that development continues. Whether Boeing or Northrop Grumman claims the contract, the F/A-XX stands as the centerpiece of America's naval aviation future, promising to shape air and sea control for decades to come. With funding secure, attention now shifts from politics to technology. A closer look at the designs reveals two very different visions for the future of air dominance. The F-47 is powered by new adaptive cycle engines, such as the XA-102 or XA-103, offering a combat radius greater than 1,000 nautical miles, roughly twice that of the F-22 Raptor. In contrast, the FA-XX is expected to rely on a derivative engine, prioritizing carrier suitability while offering an increased combat radius of about 25% over the current FA-18 Echo and Foxtrot Super Hornet. Where the Air Force platform is a pure air superiority design, the Navy's fighter will serve as a multi-role aircraft, providing offensive counter-air, close air support, and strike capability. Operational demonstrations reinforce the importance of carrier aviation. FA-18 Echo and Foxtrot Super Hornets from Strike Fighter Squadrons 3-1 and 213 aboard USS Gerald R. Ford, hull designation CVN-78, recently flew alongside Royal Norwegian Air Force F-35 Lightning II fighters. Such exercises highlight the joint interoperability that will define future conflicts. Yet while the F-35 Bravo and Charlie variants strengthen today's wings, they are not intended to replace the FA-18. That role will fall to the FA/XX. Despite the capabilities, there are still challenges. Carrier operations demand designs tailored to catapult launches, arrested recoveries, and sustained deployments at sea. An offshoot of the F-47 may ultimately become the basis of the Navy's fighter, but only after significant redesign. The Air Force expects the F-47 to reach speeds greater than Mach 2 and achieve a fighting radius beyond 1,000 nautical miles while retaining stealth and optional unmanned capabilities. Reports indicate Boeing's and Northrop's F/AXX variants aim for similar range increases, roughly 25% more than today's aircraft, though final specifications remain tightly guarded. For now, the contest between Boeing and Northrop Grumman promises to define the future of carrier aviation, setting the standard for naval power projection in the decades ahead. Despite the political turbulence surrounding the F/AXX funding, the fact that two of the largest defense contractors in the world are still actively pushing their designs shows that the Navy's 6th-generation fighter has not been quietly shelved. Most defense analysts argue that it is unlikely Boeing will emerge as the winner of both major next-generation fighter contracts. Boeing already secured the Air Force's F-47 program earlier this year, and the idea that the same company could dominate both competitions raises questions about balance within the defense industry. A healthy industrial base, according to experts, requires competition among multiple suppliers, each specializing in unique areas of strength. This logic is not without precedent. Lockheed Martin, for example, won the contract to build both the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, but those victories were separated by more than a decade and shaped by very different geopolitical conditions. The end of the Cold War created a long gap between the two programs, and the environment today is far more urgent, with peer adversaries rapidly advancing their own capabilities. Still, Boeing may argue that the F-47 and the F/A-XX share enough technical overlap to justify a combined approach. Building two aircraft with significant similarities could allow the Pentagon to capture economies of scale, lowering costs and streamlining production. Such an argument might appeal to leaders looking for efficiency, though it risks concentrating too much influence in the hands of a single contractor. The implications of the Pentagon's decision extend far beyond corporate competition. If the F/A-XX is canceled outright, the Navy would be forced to lean heavily on the F-35 Charlie and possibly adapt the F-47 for carrier use. This shift could represent a fundamental change in priorities, one that sidelines manned naval aviation in favor of emerging unmanned systems. That direction would leave the Navy vulnerable, given its reliance on the aircraft carrier as the centerpiece of American sea power. Without a dedicated sixth-generation fighter designed from the keel up for carrier operations, the future of the carrier air wing would be placed in jeopardy. At the same time, the outcome of this competition will help define the future of the American aerospace industry. A world in which Boeing secures both the Air Force and Navy sixth-generation fighters would look very different from one in which Northrop Grumman emerges as a counterbalance. For decades, the Pentagon has sought to maintain diversity within its industrial base, ensuring that multiple defense giants remain competitive and capable. Concentrating power too narrowly risks undermining that strategy. Against this backdrop of industrial rivalry and strategic caution, the United States Navy has revealed new details about its next-generation fighter, the F/A-XX. Unlike what many expected, the jet will only fly about 1/4 farther than today's carrier-based fighters. That might sound like a small step forward, but officials insist it will still give carrier strike groups greater flexibility in facing long-range threats. Rear Admiral Michael "Buzz" Donnelly explained the plan during the Sea Air Space 2025 exhibition. He confirmed that the F/A-XX will offer just over 125% of the range of current jets. This increase, although modest, will be supported by the Navy's new MQ-25 Stingray refueling drone. With this tanker in play, the range of the F/A-XX could be stretched almost without limit. Right now, the longest-legged jet on Navy carriers is the F-35C, with a combat radius of about 670 nautical miles. Adding 1/4 more would put the F/A-XX closer to 840 nautical miles. That means the jet could reach deeper into enemy airspace before needing fuel. The design is not just about range. Donnelly said the F/A-XX must be able to break through future air defenses, survive in areas filled with enemy sensors, and work side by side with drones. Artificial intelligence will play a major role, moving the pilot from controlling every move to more of a man-on-the-loop position where humans supervise while the systems handle routine tasks. This fighter is also expected to act like a quarterback, directing uncrewed aircraft in combat. Range is still a critical concern. Adversaries like China are developing long-range missiles that could threaten carriers from nearly 1,000 miles away by the middle of this century. To counter this, the Navy must ensure its aircraft can strike far while keeping carriers safe. Donnelly pointed out that a moving carrier already creates over 1 million square miles of uncertainty in a single day, making it difficult for enemies to pinpoint. By the 1940s, with the F/A-XX and MQ-25 working together, the effective reach of a carrier air wing could cover more than 11 million square miles. Even with its surprising focus on a smaller range increase, The FA-XX represents much more than distance. It signals a shift toward advanced networking, unmanned cooperation, and survivability in an era where threats grow more complex every year. The Navy sees it as an essential attribute for the future, ensuring that America's carrier strike groups remain effective well beyond 2040. The final decision on whether Boeing or Northrop Grumman builds the fighter will be revealed soon. Until then, the details we have show that while the FA-XX may not stretch as far as many expected, it will redefine how the Navy fights in the skies above the seas. Thanks for watching. Before you go, click the link on your screen to check out another video. See you there.